easily distracted by books and cats. That's like my aesthetic. Like, I got this for my birthday, but honestly, it's not a lie. It's the truth. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Katie, and in today's video, I wanted to do something that I've been seeing going around the romance booktube community. I've seen, who have I seen do this? My goodness, I think I've seen, oh hey, it's McKay. I've seen Jess from Peace Love Books. I have seen so many other people, and my mind is blanking right now. But basically what they have been doing is saying like who their top 10 romance authors are and kind of where to start with like their backlist. Now, I'm not going to tell you where to start with their backlist because like who am I to tell someone what to do? So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to tell you my 10 favorite and then like my favorite book from them. So technically I guess you could start with my favorite book, but like if it's in a series, you probably shouldn't. But I would let you know if it's in a series. But most likely it wouldn't be. Because you know me and series, we don't get along too well. We don't tend to finish. But I thought it would be a cute idea. And then there's another one going around about like top 10 books you won't take any criticism over. So this is like the books that you're ride or die. Ones that you will not let anyone like badmouth, put down, anything like that. So I'm thinking I might do that one next because it sounds like a really fun idea. But let me know down below if that's something you would want to see. But let's just get into my top 10 favorite romance authors of all time. Okay, so the first one's going to come as no surprise. Okay, she is talked about all the time on my channel. Like, I feel like I talk about her all the time. She could write a grocery list and I would read it because it would be that good. Okay, I am talking about Candy Steiner. And I did not pick up one of her books. I didn't pick up any of the books from these authors. They're all on the shelves. But her shelf is over there. You can't see it, but she's got 2 shelves on that bookcase over there because I have many of her books. I still need more, but for the most part, I have all of them. But, so, Candy Steiner. What can I say about her? Like, okay, just as a person, I have talked to her, and she is, like, amazing. She's so nice. So like that just makes me want to read her books even more. But also it's just like, I don't know, she just has a way with her writing. So my favorite book, let's just get that out of the way. We all know what it is. If you don't know what it is by now, shame on you.
I said what I said.
But my favorite is A Love Letter to Whiskey. I read that, was it last year I read it? Or the year before? No, I think it was last year. Rocked my world. Made me sob, ugly cry. I don't know how many times. Like, I have video on this channel of me ugly crying to that book. Wasn't a fun time for me, but it was for my sister. But that book, if you were looking for angst, I feel like she's the queen of angst. Like, she's really good at just like dangling, like you just want to shake the people. You just want to shake them. Because it's like, you two need to be together. Like, so the book is definitely right person, wrong time, the whole way through the book. The whole way through the book. But that's just it's what makes it so good. And you get an HEA, so like, I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to tell you how that comes to be. But just know there is an HEA. But if you're going to start with any of her books, I'm like, should you start with that one? Because like, that's a lot. Like, that's an emotional roller coaster. Should you start with that? Well, heck, I did. And now she's my favorite. So you know what? Go ahead. Just jump in. Just jump in if you haven't read it yet. Just, if you haven't read a Candy Steiner yet, go ahead. Just do that one. But if you want like sports romance, she does sports romance. She's done a road trip one. She's done so many, but like if you're gonna pick one, just go ahead and do Love Letter to Whiskey. Okay, the next author that I want to talk about is actually an author duo, and that's Christina Lauren. When I first started reading romance, I guess 2.5. Okay, so I always read romance, but not like adult romance. So like 2.5 years ago, I guess I started, almost 3, because I've had my channel for 3 years now. So 3 years ago, I started with Christina Lauren, and I think the first book that I read was The Unhoneymooners, and then I went on to Josh and Hazel's Guide to Not Dating, and I've read others since then. But I just, like, they are cute rom-com books. They are not dark romance. You're not going to have like too much of an emotional roller coaster when you read their books. It's a lot of laughing. It's just really, it's like a nice palate cleanser for the most part. There is one book that I know it's not much of a palate cleanser. Love in Other Words is one that people really enjoy, but it's more of like an emotional one. But if you're looking just for like a good time, if you're going to start with any of their books, I'm trying to remember which ones I have over there. I would say start with The Unhoneymooners. That's like, I feel like it's almost their most popular book, but it is a good one. It's enemies to lovers, hate to love. They have to pretend to be married, and the heroine goes on her twin sister's honeymoon because she can't go. So it's good. It's a good time. So if you're going to start with any, I would say that one, but really you can't go wrong with any of them. But that's just a personal fave. Okay, the next author is Melanie Harlow, and she is known for writing small town romances. Like, you got your small town romances, and then you have the second generation of the first people, and it's just fun to like follow a family throughout like 5 books, and then their kids in the next generation, follow them through books. And she just does small town well. I think I haven't read Catherine Cowles. I haven't read Daphne Perry yet, I know. So I can't really like compare her to them, but I highly enjoy her books. Her spice scenes, like, okay, so just so you know, everyone on these lists, the spice scenes are good, like, because I got to have my spice scenes, and if they're not good, then why would they be a favorite, okay? So always know spice scenes, immaculate. But also, I just enjoy her writing. I read, now to be fair, I have only read 2 of her books, but it only takes one book to become a favorite for me, okay? Like, it only takes one book. If the one book gets it and gives me all the feels and stuff, then I'm good. Like, I only need that one book and you become a favorite of mine. So I read the first book in her Cloverleaf Farm series, and I read the first book in her new series coming out, which is Cherry Tree Harbor. Both small town. Both were single dads, too. I got a thing about single dads. Or Melanie has a thing about single dads. Haven't quite decided yet. But I loved it. If you're looking just for small town feels, like, I read small town because I'm from a small town, okay? And nothing from those books happens in a small town. I think authors are like, this is what I think it doesn't happen. It doesn't. It just doesn't. Like, my small town sucks. It does. It sucks. There's nothing to do. There's just nothing to do. I would love to live in these small towns in the books because there's always stuff to do. And there's guys. There's so many single guys, because guess what? In real life, that's not the case. Nope. No. The next author is Sarah Kate, okay? We're going to take a little trip to the Salacious Players Clubs, okay? If you're looking for some kink, for some tabooness, go to Sarah Kate. If you're going to start with Sarah Kate, I would say the Salacious Players Club is a good place to start because you get a little bit of something different in each book. So it starts off with praise, and then that's an ex-boyfriend's father. And then it goes to Eyes on Me, which is stepsister and stepbrother. What's the next one? Give Me More, which is an MFM. And then Mercy, which is technically, I guess, father's associate, but it's an age gap. It's a reverse age gap. So I guess technically that's more of it. And then you go to Highest Bidder, which is daddy kink, really big age gap. I'm pretty sure it's 34 years, I want to say. 33, 34 years. It was the biggest age gap I ever read. But I love those books. Like, if you're going to start there. Again, her spiciness. But I also feel like if you haven't read a lot of taboo writing before, this isn't too much. Like, it's not to where it would like turn someone off to the idea of taboo or kink or things like that. Because all the books revolve around a sex club that the people either work in or work for or own or something. So I would say start with those books. She does have other books, but these are like her most, I feel like, well known. So like going in with those, I think would be like a good place. Okay, the next author is one that I do not hear on BookTube ever, except when it's coming out of my mouth, and that is Melissa Foster. Okay, she has such a backlist of books, so really you can start with any series, I think, and you'd be good. But personally, I like the Dark Knights at Bayside series, which are the Wickeds, and you're following a different guy from the motorcycle club in each book, and just the way that these men love their women, what like they would do for them, gets me. It gets me every time, because yeah, like they're tough guys. They got the tattoos and like their outward appearance, like, you know, they will rough someone up if they mess with their people, but also they love their women. They love their women, and I love to see it. We love to see a man who would do that for his woman. So like I said, backlist galore. Really, you could start anywhere. She's got a lot. I haven't even read all of them, and it would take me a long time. But if you're gonna start, I would say start with that. And the first book I'll put up here, and I really can't, was A Little Bit Wicked. I'm pretty sure that's the first book in the series, and you're following Justin and Chloe. Is it Justin and Chloe? I feel like I'm right, which is weird. So I'm probably not. But this is the book, so I would say start there if you want a little taste of Motorcycle Club, but like not getting too like thrown in your face, because it's there, but it's not like the main focus of the story. Okay, the next author is one that I just found, was it last year? Yeah, well, I had heard about her. I just hadn't read any of her books until the fall of last year, and that is J.T. Geisinger. Last year, I read Pen Pal, and I read Perfect Strangers, but in reverse. So I read Perfect Strangers first, and then I read Pen Pal, and I loved them both. Even though I knew the plot twist in Pen Pal and I was spoiled, I still enjoyed it. I didn't give it a 5, I gave it a 4, but I loved it anyway. So if you're going to start with any of her books, seeing as I only read the 2, out of those 2, I would say, you know what, I probably wouldn't start with either of them, because I think both would make you angry in different ways. So I'm going to say maybe start with like her Mafia world. Is it Carnal Urges or Ruthless Creatures or something like that? I'll put the picture of it up here. I haven't read it, but I heard from other people, if you're going to start with her, start there. Because I have read people's reviews, and when they've read Perfect Strangers or Pen Pal first, and they like don't like it, or the way it's executed or something. I loved it. Like, Perfect Strangers was a roller coaster to me. I absolutely loved it. 5 stars. It was amazing. Didn't see the end coming. Blew my mind. I loved it. And then Pen Pal, like I said, I was spoiled, so like I knew. But I didn't like know how it was going to end, but I knew enough to where like as I read the story, I was like, well, yeah, duh. But that's besides the point. So if you're going to start with one, and if you just want to jump in and be like, the heck with it, I would say Perfect Strangers. But again, it's up to you. Okay, the next one is one that I had to put on here because she owns my heart, okay? And that's Penelope Douglas. She was the first author that I ever read Taboo from, and that was Birthday Girl. And so many people are going to tell you don't start with Birthday Girl because it's so many people's favorites. But you know what? I started with Birthday Girl, and I loved it. I loved it, and then I went on to more of her darker stuff, and I enjoyed that. And then I read Credence, and I did not enjoy that, but that's besides the point. I still enjoy her writing, and she's still one of my favorites. Just because a book, you know, I didn't enjoy doesn't mean that I'm not going to still love the author, because ratio here, I loved more than I hated. So Birthday Girl, Penelope Douglas, is boyfriend's father. I think technically they're still in a relationship in the book. And then like, it's very slow burn too. So I'm trying to remember if they break up before she gets together with her dad, not her dad, goodness gracious, not hers, his dad. But either way, I loved it. Jordan and Pike, yes, Daddy Pike. Like that book, I haven't even reread that book, and I feel like I just read it yesterday because it just sticks with me that much. You know, it's like, I remember scenes from that book. I remember how I felt when I read that book. It was like like I said, my first taboo. It's taboo, but it's not taboo. Like, you know, she's of age, and like, he's a piece of crap to her anyway. So like, it's taboo, but it's not. But it was like my first take into Taboo. And then from there, I went to the Devil Knight series and I read Corrupt, which I still really loved. And then, like I said, I went to Credence and I was like, nope. I hated the way Credence ended. I didn't like who she picked, but that's beside the point. So if you're going to start with Penelope Douglas, a lot of people say start with like The Devil's Night because it's like dark-ish, but I say start with Birthday Girl. Just go ahead, jump in and see if it's going to be one of your favorites as well, because it's a lot of people's favorites for a reason, because it is just that good. The next author is Emily McIntyre, and you may know her because she writes the Never After series. She also has a small town romance series that I can't remember the name of. Sugar Lake? I'm feeling like it's Sugar Lake. I think there's 4 in that series, which I haven't read yet, but I have read the Never After books, and I love them. They take our favorite villains, such as Hook, Scar, the Wicked Witch of the West, and Jafar, and kind of give them their HEAs, give them some love. So the books in the series are Hooked, Scarred, Wretched, and Twisted, and then their 5th book is coming out here soon called Crossed. I highly enjoy them. They're not like too dark, but there are trigger warnings, so look them up. For any of these books, really, that I said were dark, because there are always going to be trigger warnings. But if you're going to start with any of her books, I would start with Hooked, which is, it's down there, but it is book 1 in the Never After series, and it's like a Peter Pan retelling. It's still my favorite because I love me Hook from Once Upon a Time. That man, all day, every day. Next, I want to talk about Katie Robert, and I don't want to talk too much about her newer stuff, like her mom. Okay, so she writes a lot of stuff. We have the Wicked Villains series, we've got Dark Olympus series, we've got her Touch of Taboo series, we have the monsters and dragons and gargoyle stuff over here. I don't touch that stuff over there, okay? I'm not like a monster romance reader, so I don't touch that stuff. However, I will say, if you're going to start with any of those, start with the Wicked. Should you start with the Wicked Villains? Should I throw you into the Wicked Villains? Okay, maybe. Let me tell you what the Wicked Villains is about. So Wicked Villains is another Disney retelling. It's basically like Never After series, except it's like surrounds a sex club. That's all you need to know. I don't need to tell you anything else. But the first book is Jafar and Jasmine. Second book is Hercules, Hades, and Meg. Third book is it's something, and I cannot think of it right now. But I know there's Belle, I know there's Hook, I know there's Ariel, and I know there's Aurora. Is that everybody? I feel like that's everybody. So each book follows, and they're not very long. They're like under 200 pages for each one. I love those. And I also love the Dark Olympus series, which is basically mythology retellings, Hades and Persephone. And my mind's drawing another blank because they're always the ones that stand out to me. But there's, Aphrodite and Hephaestus and... oh my God, why am I drawing a blank? Your mythology people. That's following those. And then the Touch of Taboo are 4 books which all deal with taboo. So there's like Seducing My Guardian, Your Dad Will Do, Gifting Her to My Best Friend, and there's another one. I can't think of the 4th one. But they're all a little taboo-ish. So if you're going to start with something, I would say the Wicked Villain series, because some people don't like mythology, and I don't want you to read that and then not like it. So start with Wicked Villain. Everyone loves Disney, right? And if you don't love Disney, you're lying. You're lying to yourself at this point. And the last author that I want to talk about is K.A. Tucker. She wrote the Simple Wild series, which is one of my favorites. I read this book last year, and I haven't continued, but it's fine because, like I said, the one book did me in. And I loved the first book. I still need to finish it, but I'm just do I want to finish it? And then it'll be done. And I think very weird thoughts. My brain is a little strange. But this is following Jonah and Kala it goes back to Alaska because she learns that something has happened to her father, and she kind of has to go and just kind of be with him. And learn about him. She's never met him before, and he lives in a small town in Alaska and owns like a bush pilot company, and Jonah's one of the pilots, and he's a big old grump. Well, he's grumpy to her, just her. You know, he's nice to everyone else because he sees her as the city girl, someone who can't hack it there, and she's got to prove that she can, and then things happen, and then spice happens, and it's just a good time. It's just a good time. So, like, I would say with that, like, start with that book, although I haven't read any others, so I could just be saying that because I'm biased, and I've only read the one book, but, like, everyone always loves that book, so take my word, just start with that one. But those are the 10 authors that I wanted to talk to you guys about today. Let me know down below who was one of your favorite authors or one of your favorite books by them. I would love to know and maybe check them out. Or if you don't want to leave me a comment but want to leave me an emoji to let me know that you were here, leave me a heart emoji. Any color heart, because I'm talking about all my favorite authors that I love, and a heart just kind of goes with that. But I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing if you're new and would love to join the family. I would love to have you. All my social media is linked down below, my Goodreads and my Instagram, if you'd like to stay more up to date and day to day with what I am reading. And I will see you all in the next one. Bye, guys. How did I just do this video and not put Macaulay Smelter on there? If you are still here watching the bloopers, which I hope you guys are, Macaulay Smelter is also one of my faves. And I don't know why I didn't talk. Oh, Confidence of Wildflowers. Go check it out. It's a duet. Check trigger warnings. But oh my gosh, I love that book. I can't believe I didn't think of that. I am so stupid. I enjoyed that one. It was. That's JT. Breathe. Breathe, Katie. Breathe.